Good evening and welcome to the North Georgia GMRS Regional Net. Tonight we're live from Studio Vanguard and we're linked in with the following repeaters. We're following some repeaters somewhere.
We are following some repeaters. And in the list, we're live on the following repeaters. Here we go. Flagship, Zebulon, Lula, Dallas, Watkinsville, Buckhead, Toccoa, McDonough, Jersey, Columbus, Noonan, Rome, Ocala, Peachtree, Lookout Mountain, Fort Mountain, Chattanooga, Mount Roosevelt, Ottawa, Georgetown, and White Oak.
Did you hear the story of the Cades Cove repeater? I think it's appropriate to interrupt the introduction for a story.
Okay. I like story time.
So apparently, the link radio for that repeater was attacked by a bear.
Yes.
The bear had climbed the mast or the pole that the antenna is on for that link system and basically destroyed it. So there are pieces that have been ordered to replace those damaged components. And right now we're just waiting on somebody to get up there to do the install on those replaced components. Cades Cove will be back very soon. Meanwhile, the repeater is alive and well, operating in standalone mode. So, if you're up there at Pigeon Forge and you're using the Cades Cove repeater, you can hear each other. You just can't hear the rest of the network. So that's the story on Cades Cove.
Yeah, and if you happen to key up and you see a bear and his nose goes red, he's your culprit. He's the guy who raided the site.
With the RF burn on his nose.
That's right. That's
there you go. This net takes place every Thursday evening at 7:30 p.m. I would like to thank everyone who has made the North Georgia GMRS the most expansive and active GMRS network on the country. On your net control tonight is, who are we? I am WQIR 514, Atlanta 946. My name is Justin.
And this is WRWM 344, Blue Ridge 63. My name is Mike.
And this is WSAL 368, Atlanta 263. My name is Rogers.
And this is WRUB 711, Atlanta 519. My name is Gary.
Man, that guy's got so many buttons to push down there. I don't know how he keeps up. On the net, you can talk about your day's activities, radio equipment, or anything you think we'd like to hear. This is a family-based network, so we encourage you to get your family involved. Guest check-ins are welcome from anyone with a valid FCC call sign. Once the floor is open, it is permissible to address other members of the net by their name or tactical unit number. Your FCC call sign is only required when you sign in and sign out of the net. Also, you can tune in to our YouTube channel and follow along, or even better yet, tune in after the net to watch your appearance on the network. You can hear how you sound to us right here in Studio Vanguard. Be sure to like and subscribe and leave a comment so we know that you're watching. These interactions mean the most to help our channel grow. Tonight's topic, we're going to be talking about honoring and memorializing our veterans and armed forces and our local service members. So if you have a family member who has served, I hope that you'll be able to get to our Facebook post and post a picture and a brief bio of your family member. We'd love to be able to include them in a short video tonight memorializing those who have served. We'll come to that here soon. So we've got probably just a few minutes to go make that post. No Julie's tips tonight. So Julie is out of town and out of pocket. So we'll have to, maybe we'll see what she has for tips. What's our topic next week? Is that a tippable topic?
Let's see. Hold on. Stand by. Next week is the Radio Toolbox Net. We're going to talk about nano VNAs, Surecom SDBR meters, birds, termination tools, and just about anything else, antenna analyzers, things like that that you might have in your radio toolbox.
She'll have some tips.
She'll have a lot for
sure.
that, yeah.
So that's good stuff. I don't know. I mean, there's not much in the way of tips that we could write for memorials. But in any case, that's what tonight's about. We want to honor those who have served this great nation and help provide the freedoms that we enjoy. So with that, I think we have some version of announcements. Let's break.
We do have announcements.
Yeah.
A few pages of them. Should we get into that now?
I think that we should.
All right, well, good evening, everyone. This is Blue Ridge 63, WRWM 344. Mike with this week's news and announcements live from Studio Vanguard. Real quick announcement, the first one, before we get started. If you are a lifetime member and you have not already, please go to the website and update your membership information. We've heard from some that they are not getting all of our emails or any of our emails. And we changed over the website to a different platform last year. You don't need to know all about that, but that's the reason why. We want to make sure that we have not just have your information, but have accurate information for you on file. So lifetime members, please update your information on the website. We've got a couple upcoming gatherings and events around the network that are right around the corner. Pay attention and write these down. These are always fun ways to meet fellow members in and around your area. First one up, the Northeast Bunch. They're having their lunch meetup on Wednesday, May 28th. That's next Wednesday at 11 a.m. at the usual place, Rooster's Cafe in Dahlonega. All current and future members are always welcome. If you have questions or for more information, reach out on the air to Atlanta 403 Bobby or Gainesville 44 Joe. Again, that's next Wednesday, May 28th, 11 a.m. Next up is the Kennesaw Gathering. They meet up for lunch on Tuesday, June 10th at noon at the Old Town Tavern and Grill. It's around the block from the McCollum Airport. Our friend Ed is planning another Meet and Geek lunch, so bring your radio if you have programming issues or need some help, and they're happy to help discuss and resolve those issues. They're going to have a mobile test bench to again, help get things programmed for your code plug on your particular radio after the lunch. Reach out to Ed, Atlanta 557, beforehand or on the air. You can send him an email at wrqg806@gmail.com if you plan to attend and know that you're going to need some help. Reason being is he wants to make sure that they have the right programming cables and software for your particular radio available if you need some help. Let me break. All right, for our new members as well as guests listening in, I'll give you a quick rundown on the schedule for our weekly nets. This Sunday, May 25th, is the next episode of our Rabbit Hole Net. Check-ins start at 7 p.m., and the net begins at 7:30. The topic this week will be home and herbal remedies. What did your grandparents use as remedies? Also, the Rabbit Hole is now live streaming. Don't forget as you're watching the live stream to make sure to hit that like and subscribe button and jump in with comments and questions and feedback in the chat box. You could do that if you're watching on YouTube for our stream right now. The Ladies Roundtable coming up is the first Monday of the month. That'll be June 2nd. That starts at 8 p.m., and they hope to give everyone time to finish dinner and settle in for a good chat. At 8 p.m., Jennifer, your host, will announce that the Ladies Roundtable net has started. At that time, you can check in just like any other net. If you can't make it at 8 p.m. sharp, just listen in, and as the conversation goes, there'll be breaks, and you're invited to jump in and just say comment your way into the Roundtable net. There's no set topic for this, just whatever the women want to talk about. Tuesdays on the northern region of our network feature the Skywarn net. This is a training net for Skywarn weather spotters in coordination with the National Weather Service and is available only on the Chattanooga region of our network. Wednesdays feature a short ERC net at 8 p.m. This is a roll call net and is closed to our members. This is for ERC members only. Please refrain from checking into this net unless you are an ERC member. The regional weekly net is Thursday nights, that's this net, with early check-ins starting at 7 p.m. and the program beginning at 7:30. We like to cover a variety of topics, and they're usually posted in advance on our Facebook page. We encourage all of our members to participate. You can check in on your radio or on Zello and even on YouTube. If you're not able to check in on the air, jump into the YouTube channel and you can replay the net at a later time. And if you do check in, you can hear how you sound to us on the air. Rounding out the week is the Friday Night at 9 Simplex Challenge. Every Friday night, and it starts at 8 p.m. The group meets up on the Monument repeater before breaking out to separate GMRS Simplex frequencies. Your hosts Dana, Atlanta 250, and Jonathan, Mr. Simplex, Gainesville 58, will help you find out who your Simplex neighbors are. If you have an amateur license, and our data tells us that a little more than 40% of you do, you should try the Friday Night at 9 2-meter Simplex Challenge. That's before the GMRS net. Starts at 7:30, and that group meets up on the N4KHQ repeater, frequency 146.835. Again, they meet up at 7:30 p.m., and if you're amateur licensed, you can join Ed, KQ4WEB, and Mark, K4KOP, in a directed net testing VHF frequencies. They hope to hear you there. Let me break. Got that one in right under the timer. A couple more upcoming events that you could participate in. The 2025 AJC Peachtree Road Race is the morning of the 4th of July, and they are looking for some GMRS operators to help coordinate in some of the finishing area of Piedmont Park.
You know, with that Buckhead repeater,
Yes.
GMRS coverage should be outstanding for the road race.
It really will. If you're planning to be in town, excuse me, I'm sorry. If you're planning to be in town and would like to volunteer, please reach out to Atlanta 26 Flip for further information on how to get involved. You can send an email to justin@NGGMRS.org, and you're going to forward that email.
I will. If you'll send me one.
Forward that to our friend Flip. If you're in the Tennessee region, the Knoxville Hamfest and ARRL Tennessee State Convention are, right at a month away. The date there is June 21st. It's happening at the Wallace Memorial Baptist Church in Knoxville. That's on Merchant Street. Let's see, is there a start time for this? No, there is not, but there is a map here. And
it's hard to show a map on the radio.
Well, that's true. But there's a map in my notes.
Yeah, so the map is really about showing the proximity between the Wallace Memorial Church and Austin's Steak and Homestyle Buffet.
You know I like a good buffet.
where you might find a free salad with the purchase of a buffet.
I am there. Actually, I'm not going to be there. I'm out of the country, but I would be there for the free salad.
For the free salad.
Someone should check that out. If you're in the Knoxville area, go check that out and let us know. Mark your calendars for the Atlanta Hamfest. That is Saturday, June 7th, 2 weeks from this Saturday. General admission is $10. It starts at 8 a.m., and the location there is the Jim R. Miller Park on Callaway Road in Marietta.
And I'm looking for a couple of volunteers for Saturday, June 7 at the Atlanta Hamfest. We will be there.
We're taking Vanguard down?
Vanguard's not going to be there, but we'll be there with a table and a tent and some chairs. And we'd like to have enough people that we can kind of rotate around. And
Very good.
You know, go check out the Hamfest, see what there is to see. Come hang out at the tables and let other people break out and go see some things too. Ed Labra will be there, Atlanta 557. He will be there, and he's going to conduct a forum on Meshtastic. And I will be presenting a forum on GMRS Radio. So
That's cool.
Yeah.
They're going to let you speak?
I don't know why.
I might have to make plans to be there.
Yeah, they said I only have an hour. I said, we'll see about that. So we'll see how all that plays out, but we'll definitely need a couple of volunteers that can come and sit in the tent while we go. We're gonna just hold a spot in the boneyard. That's where the action's at.
That's the place to be.
That's where I love to be. So we'll have a little spot out there somewhere. I don't even know where yet, but just one of our canopies and one of our tables with the North Georgia GMRS banner. Let's break. And let's see. We have one more thing. Yeah, we have one more thing. Let me see if I can find it here because I blew it away a moment ago. Trying to fix something else.
It's that Peachtree Corners thing, right?
Yeah, it's that Peachtree Corners thing. That's in here like 9 times.
It was, yes.
So let's see. Can I just click here? Will that take me to it? There it is. All right. You want that?
Yeah,
Can
sure.
you click from there?
So the Peachtree Corners Brunch Bunch. This is just coming to us hot off the press. They're meeting June 21st, the third Saturday of the month, as usual. They meet up at the JR's Barbecue Log House Restaurant on Peachtree Industrial Parkway in Peachtree Corners. That's on top of the hill off Peachtree Corners Circle. JR's does a breakfast until 2 p.m. They've got a flying saucer-sized pancake. Lunch with some homemade food and various sides. It's a great place to be if you're a foodie. They also say banana pudding, which that might get me over there. I don't know. Peachtree Corners is a haul, but I love a good banana pudding. If you're interested, reach out to Atlanta 849 Pamela or Atlanta 848 Ernest on the radio, or you can send an email to skygazerpamela849. I'll spell that out. It's SKYGAZER Pamela, Pamela, 849 at gmail.com. They look forward to seeing everyone there. Again, the date is June 21st.
All right. Well, that is about a month away.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
I
good
think
stuff.
that rounds out the announcements.
It looks like it does. It seems like it should.
It should.
All right, then. All right. So with that in mind, I think we're ready to jump back to the top of the roster. But before we do that, maybe we should take another look at additional check-ins. Let's. Oh, here we go. We've got a bunch of YouTube check-ins.
I've got a few YouTube ones, and I've got a little bit more to catch up on.
When I wasn't paying attention, so I'm going to stall for you for just a minute so you can get a few more of these YouTube check-ins in here. And let me just go ahead and acknowledge some of these. We've got WSET603, Landia, just joined and is waiting attack number. So hopefully we'll have that to you maybe even this evening. If not, I'm sure it will be issued sometime early tomorrow. We have Dallas 592. Michael in Dallas is a YouTube check-in. Atlanta 1150. Tony in Canton. Rome 12. Mark in Rome. Atlanta 183 John in Canton. Atlanta 192 Faith in Holly Springs. Rome 11 Mark in Adairsville. That's it. That's interesting. We have Rome 11 and Rome 12, and they're both Mark, but they're
Back
not
to
the
back.
same Mark. We have Chattanooga 17 Christopher in Dayton. And we have WRWY 456 Dave. The Hillbilly Ham from Rogersville, Missouri, is hanging out with us tonight. Chattanooga 260 Colt in Dalton is a YouTube check-in tonight. Did Colt not check in earlier? I thought he did. Yeah, he did. He's right there in line number 8. All right, so he's a
he's a double.
Yeah,
All right.
he's a double dipper, that Colt.
All right.
All right, we got you in there twice.
I'll take out the YouTube check-in. We'll leave him at the top.
Oh yeah, because if the auditors caught that, they would give us 4 or 5 lashes. So
I do need to make a correction to an earlier entry in the log there on row 24. Our friend Holly was not the voice we heard relaying in Chuck. That was actually Hershey. I'm told that Holly is still back at base camp.
Oh, Hershey.
So
Okay.
Hershey was checking in Chuck tonight.
Very nice, very nice. All right. Well, glad to have Hershey along. So is that 256.2?
I think so.
Yeah, I suppose. Okay, and then we also had a correction on, was it Jeremy?
Yes.
That had so I understand it's been corrected in the roster as well. So it was Jeremy and Aiden,
and Jeremy was the check-in.
Jeremy was a check-in. So we've got that corrected in the log, and I understand the roster has been corrected as well. So let's see. We've got also Gainesville 63 Willard in Homer, and Atlanta 379 Scott in Sandy Creek, New York. And I think with that, we're going to go ahead and continue with check-ins. We're going to start with Zello check-ins. Anyone using the Voice over IP app, please check in now. If you're using a radio, please hold your traffic until we get some of these Zello check-ins made. Net control standing by. We're not getting much action on Zello these days. Has YouTube kind of supplanted Zello?
It could be the new Hangout.
People used to listen on Zello, and now they go to YouTube, and that's fine. I'm good with it.
I couldn't play anything like that.
Yeah. All right. We're not hearing any Zello traffic, so we're going to go ahead and continue on with check-ins from any repeater other than Flagship. So if you're trying to make a Zello check-in, go ahead and continue to try. But we're also going to accept check-ins from repeaters, any repeater other than Flagship. Net control standing by.
This is WRXM 345, Gainesville 43, David and Winder, checking in, checking out.
This is Atlanta 305, WRXB 256, James in Atlanta. I am in and out.
This is WSIC 587. I'm on the Jersey repeater. My name is Adam, and I'm checking in from Covington. Just visiting.
I missed that FCC.
This is Whiskey Sierra Hotel Golf, Atlanta 350. Ted and Tucker, Peachtree repeater, checking in and out. This is WSIA 529er, John from Marietta, checking out. Buckhead repeater.
This is WSGS 735 Noonan 40. Arrest us on top of the Greek Mountain of Palmetto. In and out.
All right, let me acknowledge those check-ins. First, let me go to YouTube check-ins. We have Atlanta 947 Julie in Fishers, Indiana. Hey, baby. Julie is checking in from Indiana. Next, we have Gainesville 43 David in Winder, in and out. Atlanta 305 James in Atlanta, also in and out. I have a guest check-in from Adam. We missed the call sign, Adam, but we've got you in the log from Covington, Georgia. We've got Atlanta 350 Ted in Tucker, in and out. We have another guest check-in from WSIA 529 John in Marietta. We've got you in the log. We have Noonan 40 Arestus from Greek Mountain Palmetto is in and out tonight. We've got a guest check-in from WSIG 404 Nick in Wisconsin. And WSIK 267 Chris in Cleveland, Georgia. Both are YouTube check-ins. And that's what we have at this time. We'll continue with check-ins from any repeater anywhere, including the flagship machine. Net control standing by.
This is Atlanta 395 WSBP 983 Mark from Kennesaw, checking in, checking out.
This is C358 Dallas 290, checking in, out.
No, I didn't get it in and out.
He's in and out.
Okay.
He always is.
Yeah, you're right.
And quite frankly, with signal quality like that,
Probably should be, yeah.
we can often hear just enough of Isaac
This is
to figure out who it is.
WSFZ 865 CW16 Angel from Athens, checking in and out. This is
Fort Mile.
PSFY 564 Uptown, Chattanooga 253 Uptown Dalton. I'll be in and out. I'll be monitoring unless we're having dinner. This is WSGI 535 Atlanta 33, checking in and out. Have a great net.
We're checking in and out.
Oh, I missed that.
Yeah, I didn't hear that. Nope.
I heard in
Sorry.
and out.
This is Atlanta 933 WRZT 646 on the mobile, checking in and checking out. This is WRKJ 453 Chattanooga 69, checking in and out. Thanks, guys, for doing the net.
ID A86, Atlanta 241, checking in and out.
I already had 241. He checked in early.
Oh, there he is. Yep. Number 10. Yep. All right. All right. Let me go ahead and acknowledge what we have. Atlanta 241. We got you in the roster earlier. You're number 10 on the list. So we didn't put you in a second time. You're trying to get us in trouble with the auditors, too.
Yeah.
I can see that. Nice try, guys, but we're on top of it tonight. It's the only time we're on top of it, but tonight we are. Atlanta 395, Mark in Kennesaw is in and out. Dallas 290, Isaac in Dallas is in and out. CW16, Angel in Athens is in and out. Chattanooga 253, Roy in Uptown Dalton is in and out. Is there an uptown and a downtown in Dalton?
Well, I was just in Dalton.
Is there a midtown?
I didn't find a midtown or a downtown.
Huh.
I'm sure there is one.
Well, it's just questions that I have from West Woodstock.
West Woodstock. I suppose this is West Woodstock.
Atlanta 33, Tony in Lawrenceville is in and out. Atlanta 933, Dwayne in Canton. I wonder if he's in West Canton. Dwayne, what part of Canton are you in? Well, it doesn't matter. We've got you marked as in and out. And we got Chattanooga 69. The Velvet Elvis is in Las Vegas, Georgia. Got you in and out tonight, Ronnie. And that is the roster at this time. We'll take one more round of check-ins when we get to the end of the program before we close. We always offer late check-ins and opportunities for comments and questions. So stick around, and we'll see if we can figure that out. Meanwhile, my producer over here is going to be working on compiling some photos so that we can get those worked into tonight's program. We'll try to work them in slowly enough that he can get them in, and we'll probably just talk through the bio that we have for any of the photos that we put up there. So let's go to the top of the roster, and right there at the top. Well, first, before we do that, anybody in the room have any family members or service members that you'd like to talk about?
I don't.
You got anybody, Rogers?
Yeah, I have several family members who were in service and military. So I had a great uncle. I had another uncle who passed recently, a couple years ago.
Yeah.
He was in the Navy. And I had an Uncle Tony. He was a sheriff down in Albany, Georgia,
okay,
my hometown. So I'm sure I'm probably leaving out a lot of people, but those are the kind of the
so
ones.
So you come
recent
from
memory.
a family of service.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's very cool.
Yeah. So my hat's off to everyone out in the service, currently.
Mm-hmm.
It's not an easy job, and, I like to watch a lot of military films and put myself in that situation and say, hey, what would I do if I were trapped or if I had to get out of this building? But people have to do it in real life, so my hat's off to them.
Yeah. I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it in real life. I don't want to do it in the movies. I just want to be in my cushy, comfy life, and I don't want to get shot at. I don't want to have to do any shooting. I don't mind plinking at targets. That's pretty okay for me. But if I'm in a gunfight, I'm probably going to be the one hiding behind the car, and I'll just hand you mine. You go ahead and do all the shooting, and I'm just going to keep my fat ass right here, so that I hope that never comes to play, but we'll see how it goes. Don't invite me to a gunfight is, I think, what I'm saying more than anything.
And Justin, I had a whole family full of service members. My dad, who's passed, was in the Army, and my uncles, and I think 4 were in the Pacific Theater, and all served in the Navy. So again, another family that, just a rock solid family that served our country.
Let's push a break.
Let's break and we'll come right back. That's good stuff. And yeah, my dad was in the Navy as well, and he served on the aircraft carrier Midway. And the coolest thing ever, it was about 3 years ago. My wife and I went to visit my aunt and uncle in California, and a cousin, and some great family members there. I had a really great time with them. But one of the things that we were able to do was drive down to San Diego and visit the Midway Museum. And just the numbers, the number of aircraft that were on that aircraft carrier, the amount of fuel that ship carried to not only fuel itself but to fuel the aircraft, the number of servicemen that it took to operate that ship and those airplanes. I mean, the numbers are just phenomenal, and it's just hard to believe. And then when you're there and you're standing in the hangar, it's unimaginable that there could even be that many airplanes in such a small space. And the elevators that move from the hangar deck to the flight deck are just absolutely massive.
Yeah.
And to think that this whole platform goes up and down between the two decks, and it's a massive structure. It's a very large area, and the aircraft at that time weren't even that big, except for the bombers.
Yeah.
But the fighter jets and the torpedo aircraft, were, you could maybe get 3 of those on an elevator platform. It just, everything about that ship was just absolutely amazing. And to think that these were craft that were built so long ago. I don't know when the Midway was built, but that thing's been around, and it has served this country for a very long time. One of the things that I found absolutely fascinating about that ship, we had the opportunity, it's not really open to the public, but because my dad had served on the ship, they allowed us to enter spaces where he worked. And one of the spaces was the boiler room. Now, the boiler room is about 3 decks below sea level. So to get to the boiler room, you have to climb down these passageways that are pretty tight. And you as you're climbing through the various passageways to get down there, they have the water line painted on the wall. So where the ship would have been in the water, you can tell when you're above the water line and below the water line as you're going down. And that's a little bit unnerving to think that your duty station, your battle station, is 3 decks underwater. And to go there and just do your job. And in those boiler rooms, in that heat, getting up into an attic is something that I find tough to do. Yeah. And an attic is nothing in terms of heat compared to what they dealt with in those boiler rooms.
Well, surely that's why they're underwater, right? Is at least a little bit of cooling effect, maybe?
I don't know. I mean, you're trying to generate heat. You're trying to make steam.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure that the cooling was really something that
maybe not.
And creature comfort was just not a thing back then. It was just, that's what it took to run the ship. And so they're making steam not only for the propulsion of the ship, but they're also making steam to run the catapults. Steam makes electricity. All the things that it takes for that ship to function is driven from steam. And it's a really, really big deal to be able to keep that boiler running at peak performance. So,
and you talk about like where they lived, their quarters where they lived. The comparison for me with that is like their bunks is similar to your crawl space. If you kind of get into your house and you're claustrophobic, think of those guys that were maybe 4 or 5 deep in those bunks, in those ships, below water level, tossing around. I mean, it's hard to imagine. It really is hard to imagine.
It really is. And the quarters for those folks was definitely tight. Let's break. So challenging stuff, challenging environments, and I don't know that today's aircraft carriers and other Navy vessels are any more comfortable than they were back then. But with nuclear propulsion, at least you don't have to be operating a boiler.
Yeah.
In that kind of a condition. So that's probably one big advantage that some of these ships have, and other ships are running off of things like turbine engines and diesels, and so I don't know that we have any steam propulsion out there today. However, the catapults are still steam driven, but on those aircraft carrier, that steam is generated by a nuclear reactor rather than a couple dozen men 3 decks below the waterline operating valves and controls and blowers to make sure that those boilers are burning at their peak levels. So the fans for those blowers were just enormous, and it's hard for me to imagine, because it was silent when I was there with Dad. The machinery wasn't running. All they had were lights, and that was being powered from the shore. So there were no generators, no steam turbines, nothing running while we were there. And so it was pretty silent. But it's just hard to even imagine how noisy, loud, hot, miserable, dark that space would have been, in battle conditions or even in everyday operations. So we take a lot of things for granted. But when you have an opportunity to see the conditions that your family member was in, that's something that I'll hold on to forever. And I really appreciated that opportunity to spend that time with my dad. And many of us never get a chance to see what the conditions were like for our family members, and in some cases that might be a good thing, because some of our family members may have been through literal hell in battlefield conditions, and mud and blood and gunpowder, and it's just not something that we really want to know a lot of details about. So many of our family members came home with they call it shell shock, and it really boils down to stress disorder. It's PTSD. We see things that are beyond what ordinary life would be, and sometimes it's hard to let go of that. Let me break. So we maybe have a better understanding today of the mental conditions that come with some of those battlefield scenes. But even so, I'm still not sure that we deal with it and deal with those members of our society well. I think that in a lot of cases, our servicemen come home from conditions, battle conditions, and scenes and circumstances that are hard to deal with, and we just don't give them the tools that they need to be able to get past that. And so a lot of our service members suffer from mental health concerns, and mental health is a big word that doesn't mean very much, but in some cases it boils down to just how we can deal with trauma and stress. And I think overall as a society we don't treat those things with the
priority
regard that we should.
Yeah.
And we just chalk that off as it's a mental disorder, he needs to get over it. And that's just not how it is. It just can't be that way. But that's what we do as a society, and I don't know how to fix that. But let's go ahead and go to some of our check-ins tonight and see. Did Rick have any pictures for us to? Rogers, have you had a chance to check the Facebook post?
Yeah, we have 2 different posts here I'm checking through. Now, do you want me?
Do you have anything for Rick?
Not at the moment. I'm checking the second post. So,
all right.
I would know momentarily.
Atlanta 785 Rick from Marietta. Do you have any comments for tonight's net? And do you have any service members you'd like to talk about?
And Justin, I just see your picture with your dad. So, if you want to mention that again, we can throw that up.
Yeah, there were a couple of people that had commented on that. One with my dad. So
Yep.
if you're not seeing that, you might want to refresh that. All right, not hearing anything from Rick. Let's continue on and go next. Oh, what did I do here? There we go. That's almost it. Oh, we're getting audio from here. That's messing me up. I thought I muted that earlier. There we go. So where are we at? Where's Rick at? All right, there he is. So next on our list is Atlanta 306, George in Loganville. George, did you have any family members that you wanted to talk about? Any comments for tonight's nap?
How you doing, Justin, Mike, and Rogers, and Gary? I can see you. I got my anyway, yeah, I got a good story. I didn't have any family members that served in service, but I had a good playmate that grew up with me, lived around the corner from me in Camilla, Georgia. His name was John Wilson Rivers. John Wilson had joined the Navy. I'm going to take a break. Well, he joined the Navy, and I heard about a book that a guy by the name of Jack McDonald wrote that served, got drafted in Marine Corps, and he went to Vietnam with John Wilson, my classmate. Well, I got the book. I wanted to read it. And the name of the book was Obeying the Voice of God. And I come to find out that Jack McDonald was a country boy and wanted to farm. And some big farmer offered him a big job in the farm. And just before he was wanting to go to work with him, he was young, he got his papers to be 1A to be drafted. And he said, well, it looks like I'm going to have to go serve the country. But anyway, he got drafted, and he was on the same ship as John Wilson was, headed to Vietnam on the same ship. Well, they got to be big friends. Break. Become good friends because Jack had gotten in church and had committed his life to Jesus Christ before Vietnam, before he went in service, and he was on fire then for the Lord. And when he met John Wilson, he was able to witness to him and lead him to Christ on that ship. Well, anyway, they both made it over to Nam, and I think they were there something like 2 or 3 weeks. And Jack McDonald had a rough time. He got in a lot of firefights, and he went through a real hard time. But his platoon was out, and Charlie come down on them real hard, and I think most of them in his platoon was killed, and it was, I think, 2 or 3 left, and Jack McDonald was one of them. Well, John Wilson was a corpsman in the Navy. He joined the Navy. He falls out there. Jack is shot up real bad, bleeding, dying, and John Wilson crawls out and gets him stable, calls in a helicopter, stops all the bleeding. Helicopter comes down, picks Jack McDonald up, and takes off to the ship where the hospital was, on the ship. And after he got there, he heard that my classmate, John Wilson Rivers, had taken a bullet to his head right after he was loaded on the helicopter, and he was killed. And it just tore him up. And I was able to call him, but he left his number in that book, and I called him and talked to him and told him I was a neighbor.
Timeout timer.
Yep.
Copy on that.
I think the timeout timer got you. You were able to call him back and tell him that you were the neighbor, and that's when you dropped out.
I was a neighbor of John Wilson Rivers. I'm sorry. But anyway, John Wilson served with this guy named Jack McDonald. Did you hear that part?
Yes, sir.
Anyway, John Wilson, the foreman, was able to help Jack when he got wounded and got him loaded on the helicopter. And right after that, John Wilson was killed, and it tore Jack up when he heard that.
Yeah, that's, and there's so many gruesome stories that have come from the various wars and conflicts that the United States has been in. And I don't know that any of them get any more gruesome than the Civil War that took place, all around us here. There's all kind of Civil War reenactments and memorials, and the stories are just absolutely fascinating and shocking, and it's just I don't know. The war is just a horrible thing, and but this is our opportunity to honor those who have served, and those that are still serving. Somebody had made a comment about, have we forgotten what Memorial Day is? No, we haven't forgotten what it is, but we want to be sure that we have enough content to make this an interesting conversation, and not just a picture of one person. That was the whole point of my posting a picture of me and my dad on the ship. My dad hasn't passed away, but I don't know how much longer I'm going to have with him. But the biggest reason for that picture and that post was because at that moment in time, this afternoon, I had one photo. One person had contributed a photo and a bio. So that's what the show would have been, was one person. If that's all that we have, that's fine. But I wanted to offer an opportunity for others to post, family members that are still living, if that's all we have is one that has that we have in memorial. So that's the reason that we've expanded upon the listing here. Let me break. All right, and with that, let's continue. Thank you for that, George. I appreciate that story, and thanks for sharing that memory with us. That's the best way that we can honor these servicemen, is to tell their story and keep their names alive. So with that in mind, we'll continue on. Next on our roster, we have Chattanooga 260 Colt in Dalton. Colt, do you have anything to contribute for tonight?
Chattanooga 260, spent about 4 years in the Guard, 4 years as a contractor in Yemen and Africa, in continuity government, about 10 years as a medic, and about 10 years as a firefighter. Talk about the mental health aspect of it all. It's not like you went crazy or anything. It's just there's a lot of things that make you remember things you've seen. It's smells, it's noises, it's all the random things in life that make life what it is, and fun and beautiful. But they also take you back to... And I tell you, I tell this story all the time. Trust a serious person, because I've never seen so much stress, I guess you could say. I don't know if you hear me on the radio or not, I'm always joking. Just how those of us that have handled really, really, really terrible things handle stress. You either go crazy or you get a really kind of cool sense of humor. Instead, I'd do it all over again. I'd do it again today, I'd do it again tomorrow, and I do. But anyway, I do find comfort in this network sometimes. Because there are those times you wake up in the middle of the night and you get the shakes or whatever else. But somebody's got to do it. But anyways, not to go on that soapbox. Come from a long line. I have a lot of duty deaths in my family. And then everybody in my family, I guess, going back 4 generations. But this is Chattanooga 260 WDFM 494 from downtown Dalton, not North Dalton, as the word would say. I don't know where North Dalton is. I'll be clear monitoring.
All right, Dalton. Yeah, I believe that was Uptown, Dalton. So maybe you just haven't been there yet. It's the Uptown part of town, and it's probably a lot like West Woodstock. If you haven't been there, you just don't know. But good stuff, Colt, and thanks for that. Appreciate your service and your efforts at that. And yeah, humor is well, I don't know anything about humor. Atlanta 1126, Joseph in Snellville. Joseph was the first one to contribute to tonight. Rogers, that's going to be on the other post. His contribution, and he's got a little bio there. Let me see if I can find that, and we'll talk about his bio. But before we do that, let's just go and see if Joseph has any comments he'd like to make. And we'll get that up there just as soon as Rogers is able to make that happen. Joseph, you have any comments for us?
Yeah, Roger that. Enjoying the net tonight. Just wanted to say my great-grandfather was in the war between the states with the 1st South Carolina Cavalry. My father was in World War II with the Corps of Engineers in England and France. And, it's every one of those individual souls that some gave their all and some were blessed enough to come back home after the wars were over, that we just need to very much honor. I appreciate you putting my father's picture up. Miss that man every day. So I thank you for that, and turn it back over to the net.
I think the thing that is easy to overlook too is the bravery of these people that, that were enlisted and they were compelled to go and fight. And think back about the servicemen that went off to war with the understanding there's a pretty good chance they're not coming back. This could be it. This could be their last days or their last weeks, and you just never know. And the amount of internal turmoil that one must go through dealing with that reality is really just amazing to me. We take things for granted. Never do I wake up in the morning and drive into work thinking I might not make it home. That's just not part of my process. But when I think about people like this that live that reality, that each day was a threat to their existence, and the fact that they did that and they saw it through to whatever conclusion it may have been, whether they made it home alive or they didn't. This is a kind of a self-sacrifice and a level of bravery that we talk about, but few really understand, and I don't know that I do either.
Amen.
It's just amazing to me that people will willingly put themselves, and some are not so willing, but nonetheless they did it. They stepped up and they took on the challenge. They met that challenge, and they are why we are a free nation today. So that's cool stuff. Thank you, Joseph, for that. And it's an honor to put a picture of your dad up on tonight's net and do our best to honor him. So thank you for that contribution. Next we have Toccoa 25, Richard in Westminster. Richard, do you have any comments for tonight's net? And Rogers, did we find anything from Richard?
Let's see.
We might not have anything. I don't know.
I didn't see anything at first glance.
We're just winging it, and that's okay. We're just going to do the best we can here.
Don't see anything for Richard.
All right, we don't see anything from Richard, and we don't have we didn't get a response, so we're going to continue on. Next in the roster is Atlanta 403, Bobby at the Vortex. Bobby, you have any comments for tonight's net?
If you want to, after him.
How's it going? I'd like to honor, my dad's memory. He didn't die in the war, but, as most of you know, he was in the tail end of the Korean War, and he was a staff sergeant that ran the radio station just above Seoul at the end of the war. He didn't really see any battle action or combat action, but he passed away in 2020, at the end of 2020, and just want to honor his memory, and I think this is a great net to do that, this kind of thing, and I definitely would have posted a picture, but they kind of banned me from Facebook till the end of the summer, so I can't really do that right now, but
yeah, well, the Facebook warrior has no memorial, I guess.
Hang in there, Bobby. They get all of us at some point.
We'll get you back in there at some point. But I wish that I had something that I could put up there anyway. And well, I guess that's the best we're going to get, isn't it? There's a picture of you. That's not your family, but thanks for the the contribution that your family made. That's meaningful, and that's really kind of what this is all about, is just honoring those who have served in whatever way that we can. And I'm told that the Toccoa link is back, so let's go back and try Toccoa 25, Richard in Westminster. Richard, do you have any comments for the net?
Yes, I'm a fifth generation. I miss my grandfather.
He's way low in the background.
I see you coming in on Zello, Richard, and it's dropping in and out. So I think the Zello Vox is getting you. So I'm going to break, and when I do, I'd like for you to try that again. This time, get that phone up close and speak nice and loud into it, and let's see if we can hold the Zello Vox so that it doesn't come in and out. Let's try that one more time. Go ahead.
Sorry, we're having some issues with my network.
I can't get past the network issues. It dropped out on him again.
Yeah.
Well, all right, Richard. If you want to try to go back to the radio, the Toccoa repeater is back up. If you want to give that a shot, otherwise we'll have to move on. I hate to do that, but we're not getting enough of the audio to be able to carry it with Zello. Let's try the radio if you don't mind.
Net Control, this is Toccoa 25. Do you have a copy? Over.
There we go.
Oh, that's much, much better. Toccoa 25. Richard, please go ahead.
And Net Control, I do apologize. My network radio in the house is acting up, so I had to run out the truck to a small mobile. But as I tried to say before, I'm a fifth-generation combat veteran. This weekend isn't for me. It's for my grandfather and great-grandfather. They were World War I, World War II, and my grandfather's brother was killed.
Well, I appreciate the service from your grandfather and your great-grandfather, and there's just nothing that pays that price. All we can do is offer our gratitude and appreciation. And but fifth generation combat veteran, that means that this is something that your family has carried for a long time, and your family has a lot of experience with this loss and with memorializing service members. So that's a major contribution, and that's very meaningful. Thank you for participating tonight, and appreciate you running out to the vehicle to make that happen. I'm going to break and see if you have anything to follow up with.
Net Control, this is Dakota 5. Heard your comment, and nothing followed out. Thank you. And
all right, Richard, appreciate that. Thank you very much. Mike, are you ready for some of these comments? Are you?
Well, yeah, we're just looking in the log, and Chattanooga 208 Robert had checked in and out during the early check-ins tonight, and since then he's popped onto the YouTube stream, which is great, and shared a little bit about his family. He was in the Air Force for 8 years. His dad, who has passed, was in World War II, was an underwater demolition team, was on the underwater demolition team in World War II before there were Navy SEALs. And then Robert's also got 2 brothers who've both passed that were in the Navy also, and his living brother was in the Marines. So certainly a family with deep roots in service to the country.
That's it seems like it goes that way, and I don't know why that is, but my dad served in the Navy. I had no interest in any military service, but I have a son in the Army. So, I don't know what drew my dad into. Well, I do know what drew my dad into the Navy. It was the draft. He knew the draft was coming, and he thought, if I sign up now, I can choose. But if I wait for the letter, I won't have a choice. And he thought that the Navy was the place that offered him the best opportunity to A, come back, and B, get paid while he was there. The money in the Navy was a little bit better than money in the Army. So that was part of what drove him to the Navy. What drove my son to the Army? We may never know.
Okay.
Yeah, he's just, I don't know. He's just a little bit. He's a little bit of an adrenaline junkie.
Okay.
And I think that's the draw there, is he thought that the Army would offer him the opportunity to shoot at things and blow things up, and he's had plenty of time on a range. Unlimited range time, but the blowing things up really hasn't been a part of his experience, and I think that's why he wants out.
Oh, yeah.
I think if they just let him blow some stuff up, he'd stay.
He'd be in for a while. What about jumping out of planes, as a paratrooper?
He does that,
Is
too.
Is he going to do
that? And that turns out to be a difficult thing. To maintain the certifications, you have to be able to jump frequently.
Yes.
3 or 4 times a year.
Yes.
And sometimes they can't get aircraft.
Oh.
Now, it seems like that's improving, but that was a thing there for a while, was the Air Force provides the aircraft, and there weren't any for a period of time. So you never can understand things in the Army, in the military in general. So, and the reasons you hear, who knows what the truth is. There's so much that goes on. The logistics behind military services, even in peacetime, have just got to be enormous. Can you just what it takes to feed all those people?
Yeah.
I just can't imagine the volumes of food and rations and whatnot that they go through. So that's huge. Did you have anything else?
Oh, I think that was for me.
Yeah.
No, nothing else. It's the only comment for now that we'll share. We'll probably grab some more later. If you are watching on YouTube and want to leave a comment about someone you'd like to pay your respect to, family or friend or otherwise, leave in the comments, and I'll be on the lookout for that.
All right, next in the roster we have Atlanta 557 Ed in Kennesaw. Ed's going to be going with me to the Atlanta Ham Fest on June 7th. So if you want to come and hang out with us, Ed's going to present one of the forums on Meshtastic, of all things. So come and hang out, learn a little bit about Meshtastic. If you know a lot about Meshtastic, come on and put Ed on the spot with your questions, and then we'll have you come up and maybe help answer some questions. But in any case, I think this is going to be a lot of fun, and a great opportunity for us to reach out and meet people and get to know some of our North Georgia GMRS friends and neighbors, and also get a chance to meet some new friends and North Georgia GMRS family members. So, Ed, thanks for helping out with the forum. And let me just call out and see, do you have any questions or comments for the net? And do you have any family members that you'd like to memorialize or just talk about tonight on the net?
He might have been in and out.
All right, we're going to go ahead and show Ed as in and out. We may have missed that during check-ins, so we're going to show him as in and out. But all the other things that we talked about are true. We're planning on Ed joining us for the Ham Fest. And also want to take this opportunity to make mention, if you're able to volunteer and help out at the Atlanta Ham Fest, please send me a quick email, justin@nggmrs.org, and let me know your availability, and we'll see about getting you in and getting you a spot for you to volunteer. All right, next on the list, we have Atlanta 250 Dana, high atop Mount Olympus. Dana, did you have anything for the net tonight?
Well, first, and as always, Justin, Mark, Rogers, and Gary, thank you guys for doing this particular net and all the other nets. You guys do a great job. Let me reset. I put my father's picture on there, and he's the one I'd like to memorialize. He served in the Marine Corps in the mid-40s, and after he got out, and several years after that, him and my mother moved down to Fort Lauderdale, hence where I was born, the only one out of the family, everybody else in New York. But he got a job with the Florida Highway Patrol way back in the early 50s. Not early 50s, early 60s. And retired as a captain. He was my inspiration for joining the sheriff's office. Unfortunately, he passed away the day of my graduation from the police academy. And he was never able to see me in uniform, and he really wanted to do that. Sorry I timed out there, but I have two other brothers who have since passed away that were both in the Army, both MPs, and both later on police officers themselves. So, I don't have pictures of them, unfortunately, or I couldn't get them in time to post on the Facebook. Anyway, that is it in a nutshell. I appreciate this topic tonight. Very, very good topic. Back to you.
Well, thanks for that picture, Dana. I'm looking at that picture of your dad, and I can still see it here on the other screen. And yeah, go ahead and put that up. And I'm noticing that his eyes are wide open. So it makes me kind of wonder, Dana, were you adopted?
I didn't see that coming.
No, but maybe it was that the difference between New York and Fort Lauderdale. Like I said, I was the only one born in the South. Everybody else hails from upstate New York. So maybe, I don't know, something in the water.
Oh, well, I appreciate your good humor about that.
He's a good sport.
Yes, he is. Thank you very much, Dana. And yeah, Noodle Magoo. Where did Noodle come from?
I don't know.
We'll have to.
That
Dana
must predate me.
We'll have to come back to that another time. But great stuff, and thanks for that. It's great to see your father on our channel, and grateful for the opportunity to memorialize your family. Next, we have Atlanta 849, Pamela in Duluth. Pamela, do you have any comments for tonight's net?
Well, yes, guys, y'all are doing a great job, and it's nice to hear all these different stories. And I do, if you can hang on with me, being I'm older than some of y'all, I do have quite a few here. My father was in the Air Force, and World War II. I have an uncle that was in the Air Force, and he flew a lot of the planes over Germany and was actually a POW in the camp, and he did make it out of there, but he served and did that. And I had my brother was in the Navy. He was over in Spain. He is still with us. And my mother's father was in the war, and I have a lot of uncles because she was the last of 10 children. Let me break. And she met my father through one of her brothers, and met from being in the service, and then later at Lockheed, Georgia, where they worked. And that's how they met. And so I've got Uncle Bill, Uncle John, Uncle Gordon, Uncle Mike. They all served. And I have a nephew who is still in the service, and he was actually made 2 tours to Afghanistan and is doing all right. He is in Mississippi or Louisiana at this moment. And let me break. And on the other side, my Ernest, his fought in the Air Force and fought in World War II. He is past. No, I never got to meet him, so he's been gone for a little while. And there were some ladies that were on it within the waves. I think that's what it was called. That helped and served in the factories for the to prepare all the equipment for the wars that went on. And my mom's father was also there, and he was later a detective in Alabama. I think I got all that in. If you have any questions.
No questions. Just gratitude for your family and all the service members and all the contributions that were made. And when you have a lot of family members that were engaged in the service, especially in active war environments, and that there's just so much about that you can never really. Thanks isn't enough. And but that's all we have. That's really all that we have here is thanks. We do owe a lot to all of the service members that have served to provide us with the freedoms that we enjoy today. So, but ultimately, thanks is just not enough. But that's what we have, and thank you for your contribution. And sorry about the mix-up with your post, but I think we saved it right there at the end. So we'll get your announcement reassembled and put back in the correct order, and we'll get it closer to being right next week. I don't know if we'll get it right.
I wouldn't promise too much.
We won't get it left.
Yeah.
We'll get it somewhere right down the middle.
Yeah.
I'm fairly certain. So that's the goal here, mediocrity. But thanks again for your family's contributions in service. And let's see, next on our list we have Dallas 20, David from the Rabbit Hatch. David, do you have any comments for tonight's net?
Yes, sir. Well, my dad was in the Navy during Vietnam. He did not see action, but he was aviation ordnance specialist, and he always said it was cool because he got to aim the guns on the aircraft. So It was just something that stories he would tell about that, and pulling security on hangars, and trying to be on snake patrol down in Brunswick, Georgia. My father-in-law was Special Forces in Vietnam, and well, you know how the Special Forces are back then. We don't know much about what he did, but I heard a little bit of stories, but there's not much record of it. And my grandfather was a CB during the Korean War. We've had a good bit of military in our family. My uncle was in the Army. I couldn't serve for medical reasons, but hats off to every time got me. Hats off to the utmost respect to anyone that joins the military, because you never know what you're going to be doing. You may think it's going to be an administrative role, and next thing you know, you're in a sandbox somewhere.
Well, good stuff, David. And you know what they say about the Special Forces. As long as it wasn't in the news, then it never happened. And as long as it wasn't in the news, then it was a successful mission. I think those are the two things that go with that. But, yeah, if it wasn't in the news, we're probably not going to find out about it. That's kind of the way that works. And there's a certain element of that we just have to be able to honor and respect, and hope that that's never abused by our leadership. But Special Forces, that's kind of cool. Thanks for your service from your family and Lisa's family as well. Rogers, Lisa had made a post. She didn't have a picture of her dad, did she? She just had that eagle over the. Let me see if I can find.
She said she couldn't find a picture of her father. So
Lisa says that her father's name was George Harrison Tompkins Jr. He was a sharp dressed man. He was a sharpshooter during Vietnam. He was U.S. Army. He was born October of 41, and he passed on September 2004. And he's very, very dearly missed. So thank you, Lisa, for that, and thanks for your dad's service in the Army. We've got a handful of these. Let's go ahead and just go through a couple of these, because these are not all people who have checked in. Next, we have Jeremy Williams. He's still serving in the U.S. Army. His brother, his father, his grandfather, son-in-law, and brother-in-law have all served across all branches. His nephew is about to ship to boot camp, and he'll leave it at that. So, but here is a picture of Jeremy Williams rendering his first salute as an Army warrant officer. So thanks, Jeremy, for your family and the contribution that your father, grandfather, and everyone else has made. And next we have Tim Barrett has some comments here. His stepdad, as a young man, spent 2 years in the Navy, 2 years in the Army, and then 21 years in the Air Force. I remember Tim telling the story about how he hopped around in different services. I can't remember the details, but he was drawn out of one service into another for a reason, and then, like I say, he ends up in 21 years in the Air Force and retired as an E6 Tech Sergeant. During World War II, he spent time working on the road to Burma in the Air Force equivalent of the Army Corps of Engineers. So thanks, Tim, for that contribution. Next, I see we've got John Aldrich. He's got 23 years in so far, currently attending Drill Sergeant Academy. I wonder, what do you learn in Drill Sergeant Academy?
How to be a drill sergeant, presumably.
Well, that's the nicer way of saying. But I mean, don't we all kind of have a certain amount of that in us? That
if we have kids, we do.
You're right. Well, I mean, I don't think you even have to have kids. You just have to know how to be a. Never mind. But there they are in the swamp. Yeah. So very good. And next we have Travis Landry has a picture of his grandfather who served. Looks like that. Is that an Army uniform? We're waiting for our crack technical staff to be able to bring this next image up. They got about 7 steps they have to go through to get from one to the other, and right now Rogers is on step number 3. Let me break.
Is it a new picture?
It's the one under Travis Landry, his grandfather.
And that was the last one was the end of the list.
Might need a refresh.
Yeah.
Is that it right there?
Joe.
Travis Landry, his grandfather.
Let me refresh.
All right, we're going to try to refresh and pull that image up. It's it's funny how that works. But I'll tell you what, while Rogers is working on that, let me go back to our roster. We've got a couple more here. And I don't think we have pictures for everybody. Next on our roster, we have Toccoa 33. Matt was on the road. Matt, have you made it to your destination?
Oh, that's why. He did it an hour ago. So, yeah, I had to refresh on that. Yeah.
Toccoa 33, Matthew, have you made it home yet? All right, we're going to go ahead and show Toccoa 33 as in and out and continue to Chattanooga 3-2. Scott in Rossville. Scott, we don't have an in and out on you either, but let's see if you're there and if you have any comments for tonight's net.
Yes, I'd just like to mention my grandfather's Landrum Watts, who served in the Korean War, and James Earl Flegel, who served in the Air Force. And that's it. I'm in and out.
Fantastic. I appreciate that. And thanks for mentioning their names. That's how we remember our family members. Get their names out there on the air and get them mentioned, and that carries on that memory. Hopefully for generations to come, and we can keep that alive. What do you think, Rogers? Are we ready to show that picture yet?
It's ready. It's in the queue.
All right. So Travis Landry's grandfather, is that? I think that's an Army uniform. I'm not well enough versed in military services to know for sure, but there's a picture of Travis Landry's grandfather. So thank you for that. Next, we've got Jim Story. I'll talk about this for a minute while hopefully Rogers can pull that image up. His last re-enlistment was in January of '85 through December of '06. He was an ejection seat technician. How do you test ejection seats?
I don't have the first idea.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to be in one when they test it, that's for sure. He was recruiting flight chief over safety and security program. He was there for Desert Shield and Desert Storm and in Kosovo. So, Jim, thanks for your service. Appreciate that very much. And there he is on the screen. So, excellent. Next, we have Eric Krautzman. His dad served from 51 to 72 in the Air Force. He was the right gunner on a B-29 and boom operator for the in-flight fuel station. So that's fascinating. In-flight refueling. You see that on TV. You see images of that, but you wonder what it's like. You know, you get two large aircraft, or even a large aircraft and smaller aircraft, operating. And you know, when you think about this big jet with these giant wings and all the lift that it can generate, and then you've got a little jet that has to pace that. Yeah. So you got this large aircraft that's going probably as fast as it can, and you've got this small aircraft that's going probably as slow as it can without stalling. Right. And you've got to find that balance between speeds between these different aircraft to be able to get them to come together and then fly in a very, very stable formation. That to me seems like a real challenge. But
just recently, I was watching a short film on the refueling process from those tankers, and the boom operator. This was news to me. Maybe others know this, but the boom operator lays on their stomach and operates the controls, looking through a small window at that jet that's pulling up to get fuel. Yeah, and operates the boom just within small space.
Yeah, and I think that some of those booms have little wings on them that will control. Yes. How they maneuver through the air. And It's fascinating. It's a fascinating thing to watch on TV, and just understanding the dynamics of big aircraft, other aircraft, and being able to be in stable flight, because that's not universally the same thing for all aircraft. I don't know. I would imagine that tanker has a range at which its speed it can fly and be able to maintain a certain stable altitude and stuff. And the other thing you have to consider is, as that fuel is coming off the tanker, it's getting lighter.
Yeah.
And so its lift is going to change. At the same time, the aircraft that's taking on fuel is getting heavier, and so its lift is changing. The whole thing is just fascinating in terms of the dynamics required for those aircraft to be able to fly in a stable formation and accomplish that.
And have a gas station in the sky.
Yeah, yeah. So that's very cool. So thank you for that, Eric. Appreciate your contribution tonight. And it's time to break. All right, and from Lee Courtney, we have his uncle. Is that Sergeant Major? I don't know how to read these. Anyway, Thomas Jefferson Courtney Jr. retired at age 91. Fayetteville, Georgia, passed away peacefully in 2024. Tom was born in 1933 in Knoxville, Tennessee, to be the late Thomas Jefferson Courtney Sr. and Minnie Bell Courtney Floyd from the mountains of East Tennessee. In the same tradition as Sergeant Alvin C. York, Tom joined the Army National Guard while still attending Central High School in 1950. He soon deployed to combat in the Korean War, where he received his first of five Purple Hearts. Wow. Being one of the first in JFK's newly created Special Forces 5th, 7th, and 8th groups, Fort Bragg, North Carolina, that's where my son is, and Fort Davis, Panama. Tom's distinguished military accomplishments are numerous. He was an infantryman who earned his jump wings while at the 101st Airborne in Fort Campbell. Tom went on to heroically serve in combat twice in the 1960s, during Vietnam, where he received the Silver Star, the Bronze Star, and numerous other awards for his valor. Tom retired from his 30-year military career at FORSCOM G3 at Fort McPherson, Georgia in 1983. He moved to Fayetteville in 84 and remained there until his passing. He never forgot the brave soldiers he served with, and he kept their legacy alive until his final days. Very impressive stuff. Thank you very much, Lee, for your family's contribution to this nation's freedom. That's cool. Next, we have Tom Vaughn, SSBN. Is that the silent service? I don't know what that is. I'll just say it, and those of you that know will know. SSBN 655 parentheses B 1975 through 1981. So he's wearing. Is that a flight?
I think that's a submarine number.
Yeah,
I may be wrong, but I think that. Yeah, I think that's.
I think that is a submarine number too, but I just don't know enough about it to be able to speak well. So that's my bad. But thanks Tom, for posting that picture and sharing with your family this evening. Gerald Giles says, "Let me break." That's what he said. He said, "Let me break." Gerald Giles says that his dad was Navy. He was Navy. Uncle Bill and Uncle James were Army. Uncle Bobby was Navy. And Awesome Pick's brother. So thanks for that, Gerald. Appreciate your comments tonight. Stacy Myers says that her grandfather served in the Navy, and Shad's grandfather was in the Navy also. Many, many friends served. So thanks, Stacy. Appreciate those comments. Craig Wheeler says that he served with the U.S. Army in Iraq from May 2003 until August of 2004. So there's a picture of Craig in the Army. Appreciate your service. And Dana says this is his father, Kenneth Marshall, who served in the Marine Corps in the mid-1940s. Two brothers not noted here, both served in the U.S. Army in the mid and late 60s. Appreciate that, Dana. Next we have John Boyd says, on this Memorial Day, let us not forget no duty is more urgent than that of returning units. May we never forget that freedom isn't free, and a hero is someone who has given his or her life to something bigger than oneself. That's really what Memorial Day is about, is those that have served and paid the ultimate price, and it's a day for us to remember those that aren't here with us today. So it really is the root of what this episode is supposed to be about, but I don't want to leave anybody out. So we bend the rules a little bit. I hope that doesn't bother anyone. Great words, John. Thanks for bringing that to the program tonight. Justin Parker says, my grandfather served in the Navy for 21 years and also survived World War II. He was a chief gunner's mate of weapons on a warship. So there's Justin's grandfather. Thank you for that. Appreciate your service. Terry Briggs says, SFC Al Luzier, not a blood family member, however, a brother in arms. We have a picture of my son and his daughter as 2 years old in bathtub 15 years later at Fort Rucker. They went to prom together. He was at my promotion to MSG. Is that Master Sergeant?
I think so.
As a newly retired veteran. Unfortunately, about 2 years later, he died of cancer. Of our close group, several others have been taken by it. Cancer is, I think that our soldiers are exposed to things in the services that elevate their risk for those kind of diseases.
Unquestionably.
We find out about questionable water, the Camp Lejeune thing on every infomercial for the last 4 years. If anybody's not heard about the water at Camp Lejeune, consider that a blessing. Ridiculous how much advertising they do to try to just squeeze more and more money out of some of these claims. But at the same time, some of this stuff is legitimate. Some of these soldiers have suffered because of poor conditions and poor water. My son tells a story about how they had a water buffalo out in the field during training. Let me break. That was contaminated with jet fuel.
A water buffalo.
Yeah, so they are drinking water out of this vessel that was contaminated with jet fuel. So, how does something like that happen? Well, you got a bunch of Army people that just do stuff because they were told to do it and not understanding what they're doing, and maybe not even understanding the instructions they were given. But hey, that was an order.
Yeah.
Just because I didn't understand what I was told to do and did something dumb, I don't know if it was a soldier's fault. I don't know if it was leadership's fault. I don't know whose fault it was. But these things happen. Fortunately, they identified the problem immediately. They were able to take that tanker out of service. They had a couple of people that were exposed to that. They took them off the field for training and got them medical attention. And I think a minor exposure to something like that really shouldn't be a life-altering event, but who knows? Who knows? So thanks for your family's service, and cancer is a terrible thing. And our good friend Joe Domaleski, formerly Noonan 25, Joe's family, his father was a U.S. Army Vietnam. That's captain. So he was a captain in the Army. Joe, I believe, was also a captain in the Army. And so this is a picture of Joe on the left. I'm sorry, Joe on the right. That must be his father on the left. And both pictures were taken. They were first commissioned as second lieutenants. So very cool, Joe. Thank you for your service. I've heard some of Joe's stories, and he's an impressive individual. If you get a chance to hang out, spend some time with Joe, you'll probably want to spend some time tracking satellites. Joe loves to track satellites.
Is that why you asked me about tracking satellites not that long ago?
He's also big into fox hunts. Joe has hosted a couple of fox hunts for us, and maybe one of these times we'll get a chance to catch up with Joe. And so it was, I don't know, it was 4 or 5 years ago, Joe set up 3 foxes at Amicalola Falls.
Mm-hmm.
And took us around to find the foxes, and that was pretty neat. So he got there before everybody and placed his foxes in various places around. And you know, one of the foxes was so obvious. It was right there. You could have, in an ammo can, you could have stepped on it. It was not hidden at all. And I must have walked past it 6 times. It's got to be around here somewhere.
It is.
What's an ammo can? I didn't see the ammo can. I did not see the ammo can. And it's there on a wooden planked walkway. So it's not like it was part of the scenery. It was definitely out of place for its environment. I didn't see the ammo can. So the fox hunts were a lot of fun. Thanks, Joe. I appreciate that if you're listening. That was a lot of fun. Hope we get a chance to do that again. And maybe we'll see you at the Peachtree Road Race. So that's the end of what I have. Let me look at our roster and see if we have anything else there. Let me break. All right, looks like next on the list is we have a guest from Covington, Adam. We missed your call sign, Adam, but let's see, Adam, if you're there, if you have any comments for tonight's net, and if you can give us your call sign. All right, Adam, not hearing anything. We're going to continue on. We're going to show you as in and out. And we're still going to keep his check-in because, the auditors are just going to have to figure out what the call sign is some other way.
That's right. We'll have to pull the tapes.
We'll let them worry about it. All right, next on the list, we've got WSAI 529. John is another guest from Marietta. John, do you have any comments or questions for the net? All right, we're going to show John as in and out, and I'm going to go through and list a handful of YouTube check-ins, and then we'll take late check-ins. So let's go to Atlanta 420. William in Roswell is our first YouTube check-in in this sequence. Atlanta 927, Connie in Buford is a YouTube check-in. Blue Ridge 64, that's Side Salad in Blue Ridge. We have Dallas 64. Josh in Dallas. We have WSFT 239 Walter from Birmingham is a YouTube check-in, and Rome 27 Terry in Menlo, also a YouTube check-in. And it looks like hot off the presses we have WRTB. Mark is another YouTube check-in from Hope, Georgia. Those are the check-ins we have at this time. We're going to take a break here and take one more round of late check-ins. Any questions or comments? Net Control standing by.
WSET 603, Atlanta 249.
Ouch. It's Londia who just got his call sign 30 minutes ago. We'll just need to give a friendly reminder on the Roger beat.
Is that all we get?
After 9 o'clock.
Pamela has no comment? Pamela always has a comment at the end. All right, leaving a little pause here in case somebody's trying to squeeze their way in with Zello. It's interesting how the Zello check-ins have dropped off so much.
WSET 603, Atlanta 249. Check.
We got you.
All right. All right, leaving that long pause in there just to be sure we get everybody a chance to comment in or check in. And all we heard was Atlanta 249 Londia in Covington, whose TAC number was just issued less than an hour ago.
That's exciting.
They don't get any newer than that.
That's right.
So fresh off of the membership roster, Atlanta 249 Landia. Do you have any questions or comments for tonight's net? And am I saying your name right?
My name is Day, Londia. It's pronounced Londay. I do not. Been at a meeting with GMA, so I just got a chance to get on here, and that's when I saw on my email that I received my TAC number.
Fantastic, Londay. Well, Atlanta 249, freshly minted, and I'll try to get your name correct as you check in the coming weeks. And welcome to North Georgia GMRS. Do you have any family members that served, and do you have any that we'd like to remember on tonight's net?
My father served. I'm having a hard time remembering the year. I don't remember, and I have a friend active right now in the United States Army. That's about it.
Very good. Well, thank you to your family for your family's service, and to your friend, and glad to have you along. So welcome to North Georgia GMRS Network. All right. Well, I think that's a wrap. Rogers, did I miss anybody from the Facebook comments?
I think we got everybody. There was one that I thought we might have missed. If I can get back to it in a second, I'll pull it up and see. I think there's one towards the end. I think we might have skipped over.
All right, we're right there at the end, so I'll buy you some time. Oh, I gotta let go of the button so people can hear me. We're right there at the end, so I'll buy you some time if you can see if you can find that. It may have been a refresh issue as well, because I was pulling it right off of my screen, and there could have been some that came in while I was yammering. Imagine that.
Yeah. So I think the one that was missed was Philip Witt, and he says my dad was in the Army and did 3 tours in Vietnam. So I think that's one that we might have skipped over.
Do we have any pictures with that, or is that just a comment?
Just a comment.
Okay.
And he also says thanks to everyone who served.
All right. And once again, the point's been made in the chats here and there that Memorial Day is really about memorializing those who are no longer with us. We've kind of expanded on that, and we've included some service members that are still active or that are still with us. And, you can pin that one right on my shoulders. I just wanted to be sure that we were including as much of our service members and family as we could.
And I think we have one more that came in at 12 minutes ago.
Okay.
From Rick Vroman. And we'll put his picture up here. He says his grandfather served in World War II Europe campaign 4 years, and Pacific campaign 3 years. And that's Rick Vroman.
All right, Rick, thank you for contributing that photo, and glad that we were able to get that one up there. Do you think that's the end of them?
That's it.
Do we need to refresh again? Or you're pretty sure you were there.
That's as of 12 minutes ago.
All right. So, well, folks, if you continue to post pictures on that YouTube or on that Facebook page, that's perfectly okay. But obviously, being a live program, we're kind of at the end of what we can do as far as putting anybody up on the screen. But I got to say, hats off to the production team tonight.
Yes.
For pulling this off. This is live stuff, and to be able to grab this stuff and be able to get it up on display, production team tonight, hats off to Gary and Rogers for making that happen. Great job, very smooth, very well done, and just demonstrates the tremendous capability that we have here.
Thank you, Justin. It's a group effort on this end of the table, and I would say too on the YouTube. It's a perfect opportunity to go back and watch the YouTube from tonight and meet your GMRS family. I mean, we're sitting here and we're punching up the pictures, and each picture tells a story. I mean, of all the YouTubes that you could go back and watch again, I would put this up high on the list. And when you're in there, do a thumbs up. You know, we were talking about, you know, how do you do a thanks, you know, with folks? I think a simple thumbs up on a YouTube memorial for our GMRS brothers and sisters is a great way to do that.
Oh, yeah, sure. And comments go a long way towards that, too. Yep. Let's break. Well, very good stuff. Folks, I had a great time tonight. Thanks for allowing me to be your host for tonight's net. And I know the team here has all enjoyed themselves. The challenges and putting this together and being able to do a quality presentation is our reward for all of this. And we couldn't do it without all of you. So thanks for your support. And with that, I'm going to say this concludes the North Georgia GMRS Regional Net. Tonight we had a total of
72
chickens. And we think that'll pass the auditors. So we're going to go with it. Net Control will now be returning the repeaters back to normal use. So everyone who signed in should sign out. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and remember, comments on the YouTube video shows engagement and helps the channel grow. Next week on any North Georgia GMRS repeater, please join us for the net as we present. It's a tech topic. It's tools, your radio toolbox, VNAs.
That's right.
SWR meters, things of that nature. So that'll be our topic for next week. If you have any comments or questions, this is a great time to start thinking about that, and go ahead and present them to us next week. You can even throw your comments and questions up on Facebook this week, and we can make an effort to include those in next week's program. Thanks for allowing us to serve as your net control this evening. Good night, everyone. This is Atlanta 946 WQIR 514. My name is Justin.
And this is WRWM 344, Blue Ridge 63. My name is Mike.
And this is WSAL 368, Atlanta 263. My name is Rogers.
And this is WRUB 711, Atlanta 519. My name is Gary.
We are North Georgia GMRS Network.
And we are clear. Good night, everyone.
Good night, folks.
Good night tonight.